Alright, man. Today, I'm doing a Mac Miller tier list. And, yeah, I included a bunch of the mixtapes. This was like the only tier list I could find where it had a lot of this stuff on it, so I didn't have to add a bunch of photos to it. There is this one mixtape here, How High. I've never listened to it, and I don't plan on doing so. Mac's discography is already gigantic, and I don't want to touch it anymore. I just don't want to discover more music to add on to here. So yeah, let's just get into it. Starting us off at the bottom, we got the Jukebox. This album sucks. All it sounds like to me is a bunch of DJ Capcom. Hello, my name is Nicki Minaj. Oh my god. Hey, Snoop Dogg. You know, it's a... And then, like, these awful hooks. That's, like, all it sounds like to me, man. It just sounds like friggin' noises. Like, a song starts... Like, this was the only Mac mixtape where I couldn't find, like, a full video of it. This and Black Friday, I couldn't find a full video of it. This was, like, a bunch of separate songs. And every time one starts, it's like, DJ Capcom. And then there's, like, these random radio interview things playing. Like, it's like, what is going on? And then it's, like, this messy, absolutely awful production playing. It's actually, like, a mess of an album. Like, I'm surprised this even exists. Yeah, it's pretty awful. It's like a light 1 for me. I really have nothing more to say. And then above that, I'm gonna have to throw Black Friday. I think that Black Friday and Jukebox are kind of on the same plane, I think, except just Black Friday is just a little better. It's definitely not as messy. Definitely doesn't have as many, like, crazy, awful moments where I'm like, what is going on? It's just, like, I think my problem with Mac's frat rap stuff is that it mainly just doesn't do much for me. It's just, I don't know, I just don't look at it in a good light. And then I'm realizing now that I forgot to add one other album on here. Hold on, give me a sec. That album was the live album, where I'm just gonna say it. I'm including just the solo songs that aren't live on the live album, just like the last few, like, bonus tracks, kind of. But yeah, back into the tier list, Black Friday. It's another 1 for me. It's a bad album, man. And then above that, we got High Life. This is just the other frat rap mixtapes, except this one has, like, a few good songs on it, but it's, like, an hour long. It's so long, dude. It's a boring album. It's got boring hooks. It kind of ruins the Two Dope Boys in a Cadillac beat for some reason, except that's also the best song on here. I don't know. It's another long frat rap, boring album that I don't like. It's a 2 out of 10. Blue Slide Park has some awful songs on it where Mac tries to go in a weird pop punk direction that I just really don't like. Yeah, it's literally nothing. It has a few highlights on here, but I don't remember much. It's a light 3 for me. It's like a strong 2 to a light 3. It's nothing crazy. It's just whatever, man. It's whatever. Going into D tier though, we got the On and Beyond EP. It's got a few good songs towards the start, but it kind of goes back into the hooky, very kind of earwormy frat rap stuff that I don't like. Yeah, it's nothing crazy. That's all I gotta say. It's like a strong 3 to a light. Actually, you know, I honestly... Should I put it in... I don't think it's bad. Like, I think these albums in F tier are bad. I don't think this is bad, so I'm gonna keep it in D tier. Above that, though, we got I Love Life, Thank You. I think the only reason it's this high is because I like the playful tone to it, and looking back on it, it just kind of shows that Mac loved life. I don't know. It's kind of wholesome. That's all I really gotta say. No huge standouts on this one, but yeah, it's just more frat rap, man. That's all I really gotta say. It's a decent to strong 3 for me. It's honestly a strong 3 to a light 4. Above that, though, we got Best Day Ever. More frat rap stuff. I used to hate this one, actually. I'm just gonna say it. Like, most of these albums I've already heard before. Like, all the streaming stuff, I've heard that before. And I just decided to do, like, a full respin of Mac's catalog and go back and listen to a lot of his old mixtapes. So, yeah, this one really grew on me. Originally, I, like, hated it. I was like, ugh, this is awful. I don't even think I finished it. But yeah, it has some good songs on here. I specifically really like the track on here with Wiz Khalifa. That song's pretty fire. Other than that, though, it's nothing crazy. It's a decent 4. Oh, that though, I'm gonna have to throw the Larry Fisherman album, except the second one. this isn't inherently bad. It's just weird, man. Like, it just sounds like the Faces beats, or like the Delusional Thomas beats, except a little weirder, and there's no Mac on it. It's like, I don't really want to listen to this, you know? That's all I really gotta say. It's nothing crazy. I don't know. It's just kind of boring, if I'm gonna be completely honest. It's a light 5. It's quality, but it's not, like, crazy. Then we got the Larry Levinstein thing that I so casually censored. Mac's singing can get a little rough at times, and to be honest, it kind of has a problem that the Divine Feminine does, where it sounds a little too kind of clean, if that makes sense. It's definitely not a bad album, though. I just want to say that the albums in D tier aren't even bad. I'd honestly say, like, On and Beyond, and then I Love Life, Best Day Ever, and then the Larry Fisherman 2, that's a good one, or that's decent, and then You is also decent. I think my problem with the Jazz EP, though, is that it just doesn't really do much for me. I feel like Mac does Neo Soul better in future albums. Yeah, that's all I really gotta say. You is a strong 5 to maybe a light 6. I could see it growing on me in the future. Going into C tier, though, we got Live from Space. Actually, yeah, we have Live from Space. This one's fine. It's fun. It's a fun album. As I said, I'm talking about the specific, like, bonus tracks towards the end. I really like the track with Sid on it, and I think Thundercat's on that song too. That song's really good. I like the track with Future on it. That was really weird, but I like that song. It's pretty fun. I just think it's fun. I just think the lack of tracks and kind of lack of substance that the tracks have just kind of bring it down a little. It's just a fun little album. Yeah, that's all I really gotta say. It's a light 7 for me. Above that, though, we have an album that kind of surprised me, if I'm gonna be completely honest. It's But My Mackin' Ain't Easy. When Mac was going by the Easy Mac moniker. This album has one of this album. I stuttered crazy right there. This has Mac's worst song on it, that being Mines, which is one of the worst songs I've ever heard. But other than that, it's got this really floaty, hazy production that I really like. It's kind of got a cloud rap kind of sound to it. It's a little jazzy too. I really liked it. I don't know. It's enjoyable. Yeah, it's like a light to decent 7 for me. It's nothing crazy, but like I was really surprised by it. Mines is an awful song though. Above that though, I'm throwing the first Larry Fisherman album. This thing isn't awful by any means, but it's not like good. Actually, it's a good thing. What am I saying right now? It just sounds like the Faces instrumentals. Like, that's all it really is to me. I just threw it on in the background while I was doing stuff, and it was cool, I guess. It's kind of got a hazy atmosphere that Faces does, so I can appreciate it for that. But other than that, I'm not really gonna go back to this album. It's kind of like Larry Fisherman 1 with Delusional Thomas. Like, why would I not listen to Delusional Thomas over this? You know? So, just like, why would I not listen to Faces instead of this? It's still quality, though. It's a decent 7 for me. Going into B tier, though, we do have Delusional Thomas. This thing's cool. It's a very short listen. I was kind of, if I'm going to be completely honest, I'm kind of surprised that I really liked it. Or I didn't really like it, but I'm surprised that I even liked it. Because it kind of reminds me of Tyler, the Creator's Goblin, where, I don't know, it's just got this weird, dark, kind of hazy-sounding instrumentals that I just don't really, like, they're hard to pay attention to. And paired with Mac's pitched-up Quasimodo voice, it's hard to hear what he's saying, but it's really enjoyable. I think it's kind of, I don't know, I don't really know how to describe it. It's just this weird, hazy soundscape. It's horrorcore. I don't know, it's like a Halloween album almost. That's all I really gotta say. It's quality, man. I appreciate it. It's a strong 7 for me. Above that, though, we have 2 albums that are pretty close to each other, if I'm gonna be completely honest. I do think the hooks on one album, though, really bring it down. So, above Delusional Thomas, I'm gonna have to throw Kids. Kids is quality. It's got some of the highest highs of any Mac album, like the spins, of course. Don't Mind If I Do. Knock Knock, of course. What else? Poppy, that's a good song. I feel like my problem with this album, though, is that it does have some of the, like, weird, almost annoying hooks that his other frat rap stuff does. It's got a playful quality to it, but like some of the hooks on here are kind of butt. I can't think of one specifically off the top of my head, but some of them are just like Max singing on here. Max singing and his frat rap stuff is just not very good, and Mines is an obvious indicator of that. Kids still has a bunch of quality though. It's got some high highs and some low lows, but I still really appreciate it. It's very playful and I enjoy the vibes. You know, that's all I really gotta say. It's a strong 8. It's a strong 7 to a light 8 for me. Above that though is the Divine Feminine. This thing, I think it's carried so hard by the end where it's like 4 tracks back to back where it's just fire, 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 fire. My favorite track off here is easily the one with Kendrick Lamar on it. I love the atmosphere on that one, and I love his hook. It's so good. I think my problem with this album, though, is that it does sound way too commercial at times. I think I've said this before on YouTube. Where, like, the first time Dang played, I thought it was a Spotify ad playing. Like, it legit it sounded like a friggin' ad. It sounded like ad music. Other than that, though, as I said, it does have that clean quality to it, but I still really appreciate it. As I said, it's carried by the end, though, super hard. It's still quality, though. It's a strong 7 to a light 8. Going into, this could actually go in B tier. I'm gonna throw it in B tier. It's Stolen Youth with Vince Staples. It's actually a Vince album, except Mac just produced it. It's a mixtape, actually, but yeah, it's pretty good, man. I think the short runtime that it had, it's not that short, actually. It's like 40 minutes, right? I don't remember. But I really liked it. I enjoy it quite a bit. And yeah, it's really nothing crazy. It's not anything like out of this world or anything like boundary pushing. It's just Mac producing for Vince and Vince delivering some really great bars. This album kind of made me want to get more into Vince Staples. I've of course heard him featured on a few songs before, but this album kind of put me onto him, like, for real. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this album. I'm giving this a light 8. And then in A tier, we got Macadelic, an album that I actually had in D tier off first listen. This thing grew on me so hard. I think my problem with Mac's best projects is that they're so long, and this is definitely one of them. I think that its runtime kind of brings it down for me, and I think the fact that all the songs kind of sound a little samey bring it down for me, but it's still really good. I enjoy basically every song on here. I think there's a few songs on here like Loud, where it's just a little too like trap based for me, where I just don't really enjoy it. But other than that, I love the hazy atmosphere for it that it has, and it just kind of, it's basically just Mac, it's just Mac kind of setting his footing for the albums that would come later, like Faces, Watching Movies, and even Good AM. Yeah, it's just a really good album, man. It's a strong 8. It's a decent to strong 8. It's pretty good. And then these 5 albums are going in S tier. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think that when Mac hits his stride, he really hits his stride, and he does with these albums specifically. Yeah, actually, I was thinking about zooming in right now just to get a better look, but honestly, I don't care. Yeah, I'm going to have to throw at the bottom of S tier, Good AM. This one really grew on me after re-listen. I didn't really like it before, but I honestly have really come to appreciate it. This, of course, has one of Mac's best songs, that being Perfect Circle, Godspeed. The production on there is absolutely insane. Other favorites off of here are The Festival. What's it called? What's that one song? Break the Law. That song's fire. I like the song on here with Absol. It's just a really consistent album. And I just really like it, man. I like the hazy production on a track like Break the Law. And I really wish Mac hopped on more of those like rustic sounding beats that he does on Perfect Circle. Yeah, it's just a really good album, man. That's all I really gotta say. It's a decent 9. It's a decent 9 for sure. Above that, though, I am throwing Faces. And the reason this album is not higher is because it is way too long. This album is 90 minutes, and it does not need to be. I still really love it. I loved it off first listen, and I still love it now. I think it's pretty impressive that Mac basically delivers a nearly skipless album. Like, dude, it's such a long album, and it's, as I said, nearly skipless. but that does come with a price, that being that all the songs kind of blend into each other. There are some songs on here where the production's a little too, I don't know, upbeat, or a little too, not upbeat, but like, I don't know, the drums sound a little loud. I do love the hazy atmosphere of this one. It's very smoky. I think if you like threw this on while you're, I don't know, freaking smoking or something, you'd be like, whoa. You feel like you were floating, because this album is very floaty. It's another decent 9, though. It's a very good album. Number 3, though, we got Swimming. Swimming is really good. It's just really good, man. That's all I really gotta say. It's such a good album. It's just literally no skips. I think the only weak points on this album are Conversation Part 1, where the beat's a little too trap-based, and I'm just like, why is this on this kind of neo-soul album? And then 2009, I just don't like Max Autotune singing on there. Other than that, though, every track on here bangs. I love Jet Fuel. I love basically every track on here. I just love the freaking like dark atmosphere that it kind of has. It's not even dark. It's more kind of night. It just sounds like nighttime. That's all I really got to say. It's a really good album, man. It's a really good album. It's a decent to strong 9 for me. It's very good. And then these 2 albums, sheesh, man. These 2 albums are way too close for me. I really don't know. Like, I think they're basically on the same level. It's like an Aquemini Southern Playlistic situation where they're literally on the same level, literally right next to each other on my Topster. I'm just going to put them right next to each other right here. I'll put Watching Movies and Circles right here. Yeah, these albums, I'm going to zoom in. These albums, they just mean so much to me, man. Circles, I'm just going to talk about them both at the same time. Circles is literally a singer-songwriter album. It's not even a rap album. I was thinking about that when I was re-listening to it yesterday, and I was just like, man, this isn't even a rap album. It's just freaking singer-songwriter stuff. The production on here is so good. Max singing is just gorgeous, honestly. I love it. I think he's grown so much since like Jukebox and friggin' Black Friday. You know, he's grown so much, and it's crazy to see like how far he came. Yeah, it's a heartbreaking album to hear, and I think it's crazy how the most upbeat song on here, that being Blue World, is literally like the most gut-wrenching song off the album. Yeah, it's just it's a gorgeous album, man. It's a strong 9, as is Watching Movies, which was like the first step Mac album that I really loved. I remember when I was listening to it chronologically on streaming, I loved Watching Movies off rip, and I still do. I think that I just love the production on here. A track on here like The Star Room, just fantastic production. You, of course, have other great tracks on here like Suplexes and Duplexes or whatever. Objects in the Mirror, Euphoria, REM Ember or whatever, REM Ember, whatever. What else, man? I think the only skip on here is the title track, Watching Movies. I just don't like the trap production. That's all I really gotta say. It's just such a hazy album. It's kind of like it's just a better version of Faces. I think the only reason I'd probably put it under Circles is because it's just a little too long. I think that some of the fat could have been trimmed off for sure. But it's still a really fun and hazy album that I love. It's another strong 9, as I said. And there's my Mac Miller tier list. Honestly, I think Mac's high highs, the fact that he has 5 albums that are an S tier that are like 9 out of 10 albums, I think it puts him maybe in top 10 conversation, if I'm going to be completely honest. He does have the low lows, but I don't even think, as I said, I think everything in D tier up isn't even bad. Like, I don't even think, I think these albums in F tier are bad. But, like, everything else is just kind of, it's mediocre to goated. But, yeah, Mac Miller, man, just rest in peace, man. It's so sad that he died so soon. Yeah, as always, share your rankings in the comments. I'm glad you made it this far in the video, and I hope you enjoyed. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.